Is it really episode 284 tonight? Welcome to Cocktails in the War Room, episode 284. I am your host, Mistress Carrie. Welcome to the War Room, where we have been getting together since March 14th of 2020. Originally, we did 80 shows in a row, riding out the craziness of the pandemic. And then we launched the Mistress Carrie podcast in June of 2020 and turned Cocktails in the War Room into a weekly show where we get together to talk about what's going on in the world. We talk about music. We talk about concerts, new releases. I tell you who's going to be on the podcast this week. Episode 217 of the Mistress Carrie podcast goes live at midnight tonight. So we got a lot going on. Want to say what's up to Mark and Rachel, Keith and Carol, Stephen and Betty, Melissa and Elsa, Dina's here, Jessica. Yes, we are live. I apologize for the delay. Someone didn't want to go outside. Someone, meaning my co-host, for anybody that's new in the War Room, first of all, welcome. Second of all, there's a lot of inside jokes. The War Room family and I have been getting together for 284 episodes. So if you go to mistresscarrie.com and go to the Cocktails in the War Room section right on the front page of the website, there's a link that will take you to the dictionary, which has a lot of inside jokes and glossary terms and things that will help get you caught up so that you can follow along with the show. But the someone that I'm talking about is the someone that is scratching at my pocket right now because she knows there's cookies in there. Do you want to say hi to everyone? Say hi up here. No, up here. Up here. Wednesday. Good girl. This is Wednesday. That's where you can find her on Instagram, right? Oh, down there. What are you doing? That's where you can find her on Instagram. And she serves as my co-host. She also brings in the cuteness factor here, distracts us. And anytime it gets a little bit too serious in here, I just turn the pug cam on so that you can see all of the wiggly butt cuteness that is Wednesday the Goth Pug, right? Are you being cute? No, sit down. Are you being wiggly butt cuteness right now? Plus, when the cookies run out, she takes off unless there's mail call stuff to open, which there is tonight. So that'll come up later on in the show. Eric says, hey guys, got a new spot. Oh, got a new pet, a spider named Matika, like the spider from Tim Allen movie Jungle to Jungle. So we have a very strict rule in the Mistress Carrie compound. We are a dog house. Growing up, we had a dog, we had a cat. My sister had a gerbil named Meatball. But this is exclusively a dog house. Cats have come to visit. Other dogs have come to visit. I have had this conversation with many an artist, Mariah Formica from Plush, Slash, to name a couple, that have talked to me about the love they have for their cold-blooded creatures, meaning the lizards and snakes and all of the other things. This is not a house that would allow a pet spider or a lizard or a snake. Or my sister has turtles. We don't have turtles. We had fish growing up too, which was great until we had to have funerals like over the toilet bowl. And so we're not a fish house. Unless I was like a multi-billionaire and could afford one of those like 10,000 gallon saltwater tanks that like you see on cribs with all of the wrappers and stuff. Like I would do that if I had that kind of money. But this is exclusively a doghouse. Wednesday, I can put her in a spider costume, which I have done. I have dressed her up like a shark. I've dressed her up like a ladybug. But this is a sheep. I dressed her up as a sheep once. This is not a house that would allow a pet spider. That is a deal breaker. So I'm glad you got a new pet spider, but we don't do that here at all. What's up, Keith? Eric says, I have 5 dogs, 1 cat, and now a sapphire ornamental tarantula. That's a big nope for me. Like anytime people talk to me about moving to Florida or even to the Carolinas, I have friends that live in Australia. I always talk about the creepy crawly things, right? Like I know in New England, you can go swimming in a lake. Will it be cold? Yes. Will there be something in there trying to eat you? Odds are no. Are there snakes that will eat your dogs in there? The odds are no. Do we have spiders? Yes. Do we have other things that creepy crawly around? Absolutely. Do we have things that can kill you? Like spiders that will kill you, snakes that will kill you, lizards that can swallow a baby deer. Like, it's a big, hard no for me. And I feel like it's something that came up in conversation when I was dating my husband, because I was like, we're not having that. Like, there's a lot of things I can handle. My sister's gerbil hamster, or whatever it was, got out. Meatball escaped and was like in the walls of the house for a while. And it turned into like a thing. And like, we're not doing that here. So I'm glad that you're happy with your tarantula, but you can keep your tarantula at your house. Christine says lots of freaking critters here in Florida. You can keep them. You can absolutely keep them. I joke all the time that I will keep the snow because the snow kills stuff like that and they can't survive the winter, and I am going to keep the snow. Like, I don't have to worry like my friends in Arizona about putting my feet in my shoes because I know there's not scorpions in them. And I realize that everywhere, like, you have to deal with things. We have to deal with the mosquitoes and like the little black flies. And if you go to the beach, the greenheads and like other things. But that's a no. It's a nope for me. It's not just a no, it's a nope, as the Godsmack guys would say. Like, dogs are my jam. I love dogs. I get dogs. I understand dogs, right? You're simple. You're easy. You just want love and some treats every once in a while and to go on walks and that's it. Chase bunnies every now and again, like Wednesday was doing before the show started. Tracy says, I am all set with animals, had them in the past. I could not function without a dog. I know a lot of people that have gotten older and said, I can't lose another dog because it's so devastating. And I've lost several, but especially during the pandemic, you guys know, you were here with me every night, that, you know, having Wednesday here to keep me company and the other pugs that I've had in the past, her brother and sisters, I wouldn't give that up for anything. And I wish they lived longer, but like the bugs and the lizards and having a pet snake that you have to feed something that's alive, and I can't do it. Like, I can't. Bish says, cat people are not my type of people. Sorry, dog guy here. My sister's a cat person, and I totally get it. And look, I'm going to throw a little love out to all of my childless cat ladies. The sociopaths that we are, childless women, as we're being told by our politicians recently. I don't mind cats. We had a cat named Sherman growing up who I absolutely adored, but I prefer dogs. I just always have. And how can you not look at this face? Look at her. Look at that face, right? She's a total pain in the ass who puked all over my couch the other day, but I love her anyway. Travis says, out in Yuma, Arizona, we were taught to shake your boots out. Also, snakes like crawling into sleeping bags because it was warm. Yeah, I'll take the snow, Travis. You're proving my point. Exactly. Eric says, you're a childless dog lady. I am kind of. And it's one of the things that's coming up. And you guys know that I really try to avoid the political debates here because I think they're all fucked. But I think one of the things that's coming up, which I think is a really damaging thing, is that when you start talking about childless women, right? First of all, you don't know why they're childless. Like, There are those that have assumed that because of my career, that's why I didn't have kids. That's false. There are those that thought that because I didn't have them, I didn't want them. That's false. Tried really hard to have them, experience the loss. But it also completely, when you tell a woman that's never given birth that she's childless, when she married a man that has children and she accepted the responsibility of someone else's children when she got married, as I have, that's a really damaging thing, as if we don't make all of our lives decisions based on the betterment of children that aren't even ours. Being a step parent is not something that, and look, my situation's different because my husband and I don't live in the same state right now and the kids are with him. But there are a lot of stepdads and stepmoms that have filled a void emotionally, spiritually, financially, legally. You know, if you're going to say that a woman that is only a stepmom isn't a real mom, what are you going to say to an adoptive parent? Would you say the same thing to a woman that adopted a child because she didn't give birth to it? I think it's a really, really dangerous thing that's happening right now. And it only seems to be something that gets used against women. It's not something that gets used against male politicians on either side of the aisle. And I think that's really dangerous. They ask female politicians how they're going to balance it all, having a family and a house and a job, but they never ask the men that. They talk about women's dating history and whether or not that qualifies them for an office in public service, but they don't ask men that. And I think that sucks because as a stepmom, I know there are a lot of amazing stepdads and stepmoms out there that are doing the job. I know that there's a lot of aunties and grandmas and grandpas and uncles that are stepping up to do the job. Single guys that have adopted other family members' children because somebody needed to step up and they did. Are you going to tell them they're not a real dad? So I think it's a really, really, you can pick on whatever politician you want to pick on, but I will say this, and I will say it specifically to the men because I'm a woman and I don't think I need to talk to the women. You can say whatever you want about whatever politician, candidate, anybody you want to. But if you're going to talk about a female candidate for any race, I don't care if it's presidential or city council, school committee, Senate, I don't care what it is. The argument seems to be focused on things that if you have daughters are going to imprint on them, that their self-worth is only tied to being a wife and a mother, that their self-worth is tied to their appearance, that their self-worth is tied to how many boys they've dated. Your daughters are listening to what you say. And so are your wives and your nieces and the women you work with. And it matters to us. And it's something that when I hear people in my vicinity talking about that stuff around me, there was a time where I used to brush it off. And as I get older and as the world changes, I brush less and less off. I let less and less of that water roll off the duck's back. And I correct people more than I ever have, especially family members and friends, because I think it's really important. Because I think if somebody is going to say something like that and nobody steps up to them, they take that as it's okay, that it's appropriate. And so when you start talking about, you know, a candidate for office that's a whore or that's ugly or that's not a real mom or a childless sociopath. I heard a quote today that said that people that are childless don't have as much at stake in the future of this country, meaning that they are not as invested in the future success of this country because they don't have children, as if those aunties aren't leaving their accumulated wealth to their nieces and nephews. It's just really dangerous. Pick on them about the issues. Pick on them about their record. But when you start telling women that they're worthless because they don't have kids, Jennifer Aniston came out recently and commented on that. And she, for a long time, was asked why she didn't have kids. And a lot of people made the assumption that because she was so successful, that she was vain and self-absorbed and that she didn't want them. And she came out much later, which I totally appreciate her for, because I did the same thing, talking about her fertility struggle and how she tried really hard to have kids. It's something that I've only begun talking about publicly in the last few years because it was a really hard emotional journey for me. And having experienced pregnancy loss on top of that, when you tell women that they have no worth because they don't have their own kids and you have no idea what they've been through, fuck you. Fuck you. Quote me on that. If that's what you believe, fuck you. I'm sorry to get it out there, but I read some shit today. And as a stepmom who every day is having conversations about decisions about what's best for the kids and making financial decisions and future decisions in every front, from college tuition to healthcare to holidays to whatever it is devastating. And it says more about you than it says about me or any other childless, sociopathic cat lady, pug lady in my case. And there's a lot of girls listening to you, guys. Your daughters, I can tell you from experience. As a woman that didn't speak to my dad in the final 20 years of his life because of choices that he made that went against everything he taught me, I can tell you, your daughters are listening. The lessons you've taught them about love and acceptance and all of those things, and about if you're raising your daughter to believe she can be anything and you're trash talking a candidate as being a whore, as being a childless sociopath, what do you think she thinks about herself? She might not say it to you because you're the authority figure, but as she gets older, you're going to pay the price for those words because she's not going to come to you when she needs something, and you're going to say something when she's an adult that's going to make her say what I said. Fuck you. Which are some of the last words I ever said to my dad. Do I regret it? No. So just please be careful about what you're saying about women in general. And I'm not just talking about politics. There was a guy from an Australian news agency that just got fired from his job covering the Olympics because he was talking about the female swimmers from Australia who are the best in the world and are just ruling the pool. And he was making jokes about them being late to the pool because they were doing their makeup, because that's how girls are. And they yanked this guy off the air who's had a decades and decades long career because they were like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. These are the best athletes in the world. These women have been training for years to get to this point. They are the elite of the elite, and you just boiled them down to the makeup as they're competing on a world stage in front of billions of people. And they fired him. And now he's trying to say that it's like this wokeness or whatever. It's like, no, dude, no. Women are tired of being talked about like that. You're talking about them when the spotlight is on their athletic ability. Or maybe they're at their college graduation celebrating an academic achievement. And you're talking about how their life is useless unless they get married and bear your children. That's why women get upset. Because, okay, great. They want to get married and have kids. If that's their self-worth for themselves, can they have the Olympics first? Can they graduate from college first? And whether they decide to have kids or not, it's not going to make them more American. Insinuating that I don't have as much at stake in this country because I don't have children Seriously, fuck all the way off. All the way off. It's insane that people are still talking about women, that they're talking about the appearance of the female athletes and not the male athletes, when they're all just there to compete in their respective sports because they're at the frickin' Olympics. Sometimes, guys, I got to tell you, and I'm not a girly girl, right? The lipstick, don't let it get you twisted. The nails, don't let it get you twisted. Like, I am not the girly girl, okay? I've let a lot of stuff roll off my back over the years. I've had a very long career in a very male-dominated, sometimes very sexist industry. And I've made my way through it in an era where it was a lot harder for me to say the things I say now back when I started. But there's a lot of women and girls that are tired of putting up with it. And that's why we're talking about it more. Because literally, come on. Like, we're just done with it. I don't hate men. I fucking love them. I think you're amazing. This isn't an anti-man rant at all, which people will say it is. It's not. I think you're amazing. I married one. A really amazing one, by the way. But it's really hard to keep your mouth shut when people say really dumb stuff about half the population of the planet and what our worth is based on how big our ass is or how big our lips are or how many boyfriends we've had. Like, it's exhausting to be quiet about it. Like, seriously, it's fucking tiresome. So it's only going to get worse, unfortunately, but you're going to hear about it more and more because more and more women are just like, I can't just be quiet anymore. Like, I'm going to tell you publicly to go fuck yourself now. Whereas before I would have been like, ugh. But now I literally to your face will tell you to go fuck yourself because you're an idiot. And the girls are listening. Your daughters are listening. Your nieces, your nephews, your wives, your grandmothers. They're all listening to what you're saying. They might not say it to your face, but they are listening and they are going to remember that shit. So careful or you'll end up like my dad because his daughters told him to go fuck himself. And if that's what you want to take to the grave, by all fucking means, have a day. Have the day you deserve. But think it all you want. Can't control your thoughts. But just be mindful of the ears that are around. And it doesn't matter how little they are either. Sorry for the rant. It's been a fucking day with some of the shit that I've seen and heard people saying on TV, on the internet today. I try so hard to put positivity and love and understanding and open-mindedness and acceptance into the world. And to really understand that the little corner of the world that I grew up in is not the corner of the world that everyone grew up in. And that everybody's situation is not the same. And that's why I love this country so much, is that we're all supposed to be able to equally achieve our dreams here. But it's really freaking, it's really difficult sometimes to have your existence and your life's work and everything about you be boiled down into something so frivolous by someone that literally has no idea what it's like to be you. And I can only speak about what it's like to be a woman. I can't speak about what it's like to be a different race, a minority race, a different religion, and a woman. I can only experience it as a woman, and it pisses me off. I have all the empathy in the world for all of the other women around the world that are members of religions where they're not viewed as being an equal participant, or that are members of different races, whether it's in the United States or not, where they're not looked at as being the same. It's not, we're better than that. We're better than that. You want to pick on a woman? Pick on her about what's relevant to the conversation. She a politician? Talk about her record. She an academic? Talk about her credentials. She a doctor? Talk about her experience and her degrees and her education. You talk about her ass, fuck all the way off. You talk about how many kids she's had, fuck all the way off. All the way. All the way over there. I wish I could say that on the radio. I really, really do. It's very freeing that I can say it here. It's very freeing that I can say it on the podcast. But there are times that I would love to just be able to go on the air and be like, can you just fuck all the way off? And you just can't, because the people's airwaves. One of the other things that I wanted to talk about, and it's not a political thing, but it definitely goes to the idea of like the silos that we're building, is Gojira and the Olympics. First of all, holy shit, were they amazing. Second of all, good on France for showcasing heavy metal on the world stage, because as we've seen in the United States, they don't like to do that much. Super Bowl, Academy Awards, like just, they don't even put metal on the Grammys anymore. So for Gojira to be put with an opera singer in the middle of the Olympic opening ceremonies was unbelievable. To be singing a song about hope and freedom, about the French Revolution, with a bunch of beheaded Marie Antoinettes in the windows. Oh my God, amazing. But the debates about what happened in the opening ceremony of the Olympics, and the debate about the Last Supper and Dionysus and all of that stuff, like, come on, guys. Like, we got to read. We got to read history. We got to read where the iconography comes from. I have had so many conversations since Friday night during the opening ceremony about, well, why did that person have a halo? Well, the Greeks used to use those rays of lights around the head before Christianity did. It's the Olympics. It started in Greece. Greek iconography, not a far stretch. The heavy metal devil worship stuff because of the red streamers coming out of the windows and the beheaded women, like people going online and talking about how it was a satanic ritual. When the guys in Gojira write songs about whales and trees and the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, if it were Slayer, okay, maybe. But it's Gojira. They sing about whales. Like, they're not Satanists. They even came out and said it has nothing to do with it. Bish, it was not trans people portraying the Last Supper. That's what I'm talking about. That's not what it was. It was the Feast of Dionysus. That is not what it was. Did the Olympic Committee come out and say that they were sorry that people were offended? Yes. Because that's what polite people do in society. You can say, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you were offended by that. That doesn't mean it was the Last Supper, because it wasn't. It was the Feast of Dionysus. And all of the other iconography, a lot of it tied back to art from France, like the gold cow head. That is a famous sculpture from France, from like the 1930s. There were so many references that unless you know French history, you didn't understand, or unless you didn't know about Greek mythology, you didn't get. No other country filled with Christians is upset except Americans. And it's because they don't know the history of it. Never mind the fact, why would you blaspheme the Last Supper and then do a 10-minute tribute to the craftsmen who are painstakingly rebuilding Notre Dame? Because nobody is singing about that. Christians aren't praising that. And they went on and on about it on TV, about how they're rebuilding one of the most famous Christian churches and chapels in all of the world. It was not the Last Supper. It wasn't. Nobody ever came out and said it. I've gotten in more Facebook fights in the last 3 days because I've said, cite it. Show me the article, show me the audio, the video of somebody saying it was the Last Supper. It doesn't exist because nobody did. They said, we're sorry if you were offended. Because they are. They don't want anybody to be offended. It's 184 countries. It's like how many religions are represented at the Olympics? It's something like 800 or something. Travis says the whole song was about the French Revolution. It is appalling that no one remembers history. That's the problem. That's the problem, is that you're outraged because you don't know the history of it. What you should be more afraid of is the fact that Marie Antoinette got beheaded. The whole French Revolution was about a royal class, was about the church overstepping bounds into the government. Like, they cut their fucking heads off over it. The French are very proud. The guys in Gojira talked about it. They're like, the revolution was bloody, and we're very proud of the way that we came out of it with a distinct separation of church and state, so that we can make statements, and those statements aren't tied directly back to the religion in this country. That's what France is. Last time I checked, the Olympics are in Paris. It's all about their history. Here's the problem, and I will end with this. I have been told that the play-by-play, right, the announcers that were kind of narrating and guiding the viewer through what was happening, those announcers in Great Britain, in Canada, in Australia, in Japan, in all of the other industrialized countries that have guided people on television talking you through it, in South America, all of that, where there's way more Christians down there than here, and they're not pissed off, that their announcers were way better at describing what was going on. And we got Kelly Clarkson and Peyton Manning. Maybe, just maybe, if we had had better TV commentators from NBC, at least one person that had some level of expertise sitting there with Peyton Manning and Kelly Clarkson to say, hey guys, just to FYI, the reason why there's beheaded women in the windows of the Gojira performance, it's not for Satan, it's the French Revolution. And the reason why they're singing this song is about the revolution. And by the way, this portrayal is Dionysus's feast, a throwback to Greece where the Olympics started. But they didn't do that. I blame NBC for not doing a better job, because they get all of that stuff from the Olympic Committee. This stuff is planned way in advance. Every time the Olympics goes to a different place, there's always symbolism about the home country. There's traditions about the home country. I don't think they did a good job, and I think that's what caused all this crap, is that if somebody had been told, hey, look at the painting of Dionysus and the feast and this and that, that's what these guys are doing. Oh, but no, instead, I can't. Jonathan, I couldn't agree with you more. The Celine Dion part, wanted to cry for her. Amazing. Amazing. She was unbelievable. If you watch that documentary about her and what she's going through, for her to go on that stage in front of billions of people and sing the way she did, unbelievable. Amazing. Well, Keith says, or do a better job of getting them the correct notes on what they're going to be seeing. Well, that's the thing. If other countries got it right, if the TV commentators in Canada, if the TV commentators in Australia, if they got it right, that means the information was there. And it was either ignored or they made an editorial decision that the American audience wouldn't care about it. Because the other countries around the world are not having this problem. There are nations like Brazil that are filled with Christians, and they aren't mad right now. But the uproar is only happening in the United States. There was no statement from the Vatican. Spain hasn't come out. England hasn't complained. Even people in France aren't bitching about it. And it happened on their river. The outrage is only in the United States. Why is that? Because Americans weren't told what was going on that they were watching. That's the problem. And they either were not told because the commentators didn't want to tell them, the commentators didn't know, or they decided at a corporate level that the American audience wouldn't care enough to put it in front of the commentators. But I think that's the problem, because obviously that information was out there because other countries had it. So Eric says Celine sounded like she didn't miss any time at all. She came out and said she had to learn how to sing all over again because of what's happened with the muscles in her throat and her vocal cords, which is just insane. Bish says NBC had to cater to Manning to make him feel more important than he is. That's the thing, okay? I do not begrudge having professional athletes be commentators at the Olympics. I think having an athlete for a sport that doesn't get played in the Olympics is a little weird, but whatever. I'm willing to overlook it, right? Snoop's out there as a commentator. Flava Flav has adopted the women's water polo team. I'm all about all of it because I want to celebrate the athletes who have to work all these jobs and train and struggle because we don't fund our athletes the way that a lot of other countries do. Like China, the way that they fund their athletes, the way that Australia funds their athletes. It's not in the United States, we rely on sponsorship money to fund our athletes, where in most of the other countries, it's funded by the government. But not having some voice of expertise helping to guide the conversation of the opening ceremony, in my opinion, was a programming decision that was wrong on NBC's part. And I feel like in the past, they've done a better job. I was talking to my sister about this. I think that the chances they took with the opening ceremony not being condensed into one stadium, having miles of the Seine River and all the athletes be on boats and all of these performances happening on the banks of the Seine for miles, I can only imagine, and I'm giving benefit of the doubt on the production side, that was an absolute production disaster to manage. That you've got all these wireless microphones and people screaming in multiple languages, and you're trying to shift from cameras and you're feeding 184 countries television feeds and everybody is yelling. And I heard they didn't do a lot of dress rehearsals because they wanted to keep a lot of the surprises under wraps. So like they didn't sound check Celine Dion. They didn't sound check Lady Gaga. They didn't sound check Gojira. So I can imagine that some things slipped through the cracks because the production of this Olympics was way different than having an opening ceremony in a stadium on a fixed stage where everything happens and you've got cameras that are fixed and mounted and you're not on boats and dealing with a torrential downpour and all of that. And maybe that was part of it. Maybe they had intended on giving more education to what people were seeing on television, but they were having production issues. I can only imagine what was going on in the IFBs like the earpieces that they wear. Like people must have just been screaming and yelling like crazy. Maybe that's why. But seeing metal put on the stage and platform that it was such a huge and monumental achievement for Gojira and music in general, especially rock and metal. And to have it boiled down to their Satanists really made me mad, because we've been there already. We dealt with this in the 80s with Ozzy and Judas Priest and PMRC. Do we really want to go back to the Tipper Gore days? Like, are we really going back there because Gojira is a bunch of Satanists on television? We can't. Can we be smarter, please? Like, literally go Google Gojira song lyrics. The last thing they're singing about is Satan. There are plenty of satanic bands out there, don't get me wrong. They ain't one. And don't you think the Olympic Committee would have thought twice down the river from Notre Dame about putting a satanic metal band on television in front of the world? Somebody at some point, they've had 8 years to think about this since Paris was granted the Olympics over Boston, by the way. They've had 8 years to think about all of this stuff. They didn't just willy-nilly throw a bunch of Satanists on fucking television. I just can't. Tracy says, Snoop is our mascot. Love it. Look, I love the fact that so many people with such large platforms are putting these athletes on their platforms. I couldn't be happier for the women's water polo team that Flava Flav is like, and he did it because he found out that the captain of the water polo team worked 4 jobs to be able to train for the Olympics. And he reached out and was like, what do you guys need? I'm going to be your biggest supporters. I'm going to do everything I can to help you. You guys just need to go to the Olympics and win. That's what you need to worry about. And I love the fact that Bish says, Simone Biles makes $37,000 for a gold medal. The Chinese athletes make $200K. I think it's Hong Kong. I think I read today. What athletes? They get $785,000 for a gold medal when they go home. Simone Biles gets like $37,000, which look, 37 grand is great. But with the amount of advertising money that gets tossed around because of the Olympics, do you know how much a company has to pay to be able to use the Olympic rings on their products? When they say proud partner of Team USA and all, there is a lot of corporate money at stake. NBC pays a fortune for the broadcast rights to the Olympics. And it's like the athletes are the ones at the end of the day that are paying the price. The athletes are paying the price because of all the controversy, because that's all people are talking about. And it's crazy. It's crazy. What if they just said, let's do it huge and never checked with anyone? Jay, there's no way the Olympic Committee, there's too much at stake, especially for the opening ceremony. You want to talk to me about making a willy-nilly decision on the closing ceremony? I'll listen to you. But knowing 16 days of Olympic competition are happening in your city, there's no way they were doing that at the beginning to piss off the Olympic Committee. There's no way. There's no way that they were like, let's talk about how much we hate Christians, so let's put Satanists on TV. And oh, by the way, look at the billions of dollars we're spending redoing Notre Dame after the fire, because Notre Dame is reopening this fall. So they wanted to commemorate the workmanship of the workers that have been working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to build up Notre Dame again. But yeah, they wanted to be anti-Christian. Mm-hmm. You're right. Okay, we got a lot to talk about. I'm going to burn through everything else. I've been yelling at you long enough, but something just, as some of my friends say, I got sand in my vagina today. Some things just rubbed me the wrong way, and pissed me off. If you want to try skydiving this summer, which I suggest you do, or maybe in the fall for leaf peeping. Have you ever leaf peeped at 120 miles an hour, 2.5 miles above the Earth's surface? If not, this is a deal for you. Go to jumptown.com, schedule your tandem skydive, use the code Mistress Carrie, and get $40 off your tandem skydive. This is good all season. They jump through Halloween. So book your tandem skydive. It makes a great gift, something for graduation, 18th birthday, anniversaries, like whatever it is. So use the Mistress Carrie deal. Get $40 off your tandem skydive with the code Mistress Carrie at jumptown.com. Very exciting. Are you guys ready for the big announcement? It's not really a secret because it's been all over Facebook and social media the last few days. We are officially launching the Mistress Carrie Black and Blue ice cream at A La Mode in Thompson, Connecticut on Sunday, August 18th from noon to 5 p.m. The Ice Cream Alchemist has put together a boozy ice cream recipe that is not only purple like my hair, but also contains some of my favorite things: tequila and limoncello. So the Mistress Carrie ice cream will be sold only by the pint. A La Mode has an ice cream stand. They have plenty of non-boozy ice creams that they will scoop in cones and dishes for you. You can buy their homemade ice creams by the pint and take it home. They've got like 20 boozy flavored ice creams that you can buy and take home. But the Mistress Carrie ice cream is going to only be available in pints, and all of the profits are being donated to Project New Hope. So you'll be able to come down. You'll be able to sample the ice cream if you're old enough. You'll be able to eat the ice cream there if you want to buy a pint and eat it. You can bring it home with you if you want. They all do ready-made meals. They have a fantastic selection of pies and pastries there. It's also a really cute like market where you can get a lot of local things like local honey and olive oils and pastas and locally made potato chips. And it's just a really cool place. Fingers crossed it doesn't rain. They've got a big outdoor courtyard where we're going to be set up. Project New Hope is going to be out there with a tent, so you can ask them about where the money is going to go, what programs they're going to fund. I'm going to be set up there as well. We'll have music. We'll have raffles. So it's noon to 5 on Sunday, August 18th. The launch of the Mistress Carrie Black and Blue ice cream at A La Mode in Thompson, Connecticut. And you can find the address, the phone number, all of the information on the Mistress Carrie events calendar at mistresscarrie.com. So super excited about the launch of the ice cream. I hope you guys all come out. It's a beautiful ride. There are a lot. It's close to the lake in Thompson. There's a lot of motorcyclists that ride through there, just looking for a great cruising route on the weekends. So it's great for that. Grab the kids. There's tons of non-boozy ice creams for either kids or people that don't drink. The Mistress Carrie ice cream does not come booze free. I get one person that asked me about that, and maybe we'll talk to the Ice Cream Alchemist about making an alcohol-free version of it. But as of right now, this is what it looks like. It's only going to be available on site at A La Mode in Thompson, Connecticut as of right now. And but I'm super excited about it. So you can get the address, everything you need on the event calendar at mistresscarrie.com. But it's Sunday, August 18th from noon to 5 p.m. Want to remind you guys about where you can listen to me on the radio, 98 Rock, Charleston's best rock. You can go to my98rock.com and listen to me every weekday from 10 to 3 following the Dave and Mahoney Morning Show. You can also listen to me on 100 FM The Pike in Worcester, following Chuck Perks, who follows the Pike Morning Show featuring Mike Shue. You can go to pikefm.com and listen to me every weekday afternoon from 3 to 7. And I'm going to be at Indian Ranch once again. Got to thank everybody that came out for the Hair Fest. Now we're looking forward to Rockfest at Indian Ranch on August 31st, and we'll be out there for that as well. Details on that with the lineup and the link to get tickets are on the event calendar at mistresscarrie.com. You can also hear me every weekday afternoon on 106.3 The Bone in Portland, Maine. You can go to 1063thebone.com, stream the station, download the app, listen from anywhere, And there are a lot of things that are coming up in Portland that I'm going to be up there again before the end of the year for sure. All right, we got to talk about last week's episode of the podcast, episode 216, featuring Josh and Alex from Bad Flower, who are still hard at work on the rest of the songs for their upcoming new album. But we talked a lot about the new song, Detroit, also about their tour, their writing process, and so much more on last week's episode. Josh Katz has been on the show before. Alex had not been on the show before. This is Alex right here. But it was really great getting those guys back on the show. I'm a big fan of these guys. They're really, really nice. They are eccentric and kind of weird, which is what I love about them. But if you haven't seen them live yet, they're great live. So last week's episode 216 of the podcast, featuring the guys from Bad Flower. And at midnight tonight, the return of Slash to the Mistress Carrie podcast, episode 217, welcomes back Slash. Now, I need to put this out there. This episode was recorded right before his stepdaughter passed away. Slash canceled tour dates of his Serpent Festival tour to mourn the loss and process the grief of the loss of his 25-year-old stepdaughter. And obviously, this was recorded before that happened. So it's not addressed in the interview at all. I just want to make sure people know that this interview was recorded then, but I wanted to release it this week because on Thursday, he's playing at the Leader Bank Pavilion in Boston. And so I wanted to release the Slash episode this week because I was going to be talking about Slash a lot on the radio. So it's very sad. It's a very lighthearted conversation. We talked about the very rainy Guns N' Roses show at Fenway last year. We talked about where he got his first guitars and which ones he still has and why. One of these stories about one of his first jobs was hilarious. But obviously this had nothing to do with his family's loss. So I want to make sure that we say that everybody here, I think I can speak for everyone in the War Room when I say that we're sending all of our love to Slash and his family. As far as I know, the show on Thursday night at the Leader Bank Pavilion is on, but a tragic loss for Slash, his wife, their family. And it's just a devastating loss. And so obviously when you listen to the interview, that will not be brought up for good reason. If you, so that goes live at midnight tonight. If you subscribe to the podcast, not only do you get all the weekly episodes, but you also get the Sit Rep, which you can hear every Monday through Friday. You can get all of your updated rock news, music headlines, movie updates, streaming stuff, all of that in about 5 minutes every weekday. That's what the Sit Rep is. And then the weekly episodes. And then sometimes we release bonus episodes too. You can subscribe to the Mistress Carrie podcast basically anywhere you get your podcasts. You can listen to the episodes audio only on YouTube. You may have noticed a lot of action on my YouTube channel recently. I have been trying to get all of the old episodes up on YouTube, which I'm about 99% done now, that every full-length episode of the podcast is now up on YouTube. But you can also listen anywhere: Apple, Google, Spotify, Odyssey, iHeart, all of the apps that feature podcasts. Most likely the Mistress Carrie podcast is there. Just open up whatever podcast app you have, search Mistress Carrie, and if that logo is there, that's where you need to go. And if all else fails, go to mistresscarrie.com and press play on whatever episode you want to listen to, and it's all right there. Donna says, it's freezing. Anyone else or just me? Is it better now? You keep freezing on me. Had to close Facebook and restart. Anyone else, says Melissa. Jessica says it's freezing. Alexa says me too. Very weird. Is it storming in Mass? Heidi wants to know. Not that I know of, but who the hell knows at this point what the hell is going on? We're still holding strong at 149 countries. I know you guys every week are hoping we're going to get to 150, but it ain't this week. If you're celebrating your birthday today, you're sharing it with Kate Bush, Jimmy Cliff, Paul Anka, and the legend himself, Buddy Guy. So if today's your birthday, happy birthday. Happy unbirthday, Keith. Solar flares did the same thing and it's back, says Boston Biotics on Instagram. Okay, so that means it's the stream in general and not just Facebook if people on Instagram are saying it's freezing too. It's good now, says Carol. Getting a bit of a lag and a freeze, says Keith. Jay says, you rock, lady. Don't let any of the losers bring you down. One love from Colorado. What's up, Jay in Colorado? No, the losers aren't bringing me down. I'm just not going to be quiet about it anymore. So if you don't want to hear me, bitch, don't listen. But I think there's a lot of us that are just like, I can't just roll my eyes at you anymore. Like, we got to use our voices to tell people to shut up now. We just have to. Read a fucking book and shut up. Seriously. If you're going to Metallica in New England at Gillette Stadium coming up on Friday and Sunday, here are some stats and some things you need to know. The parking lots open at 2 on Friday and Sunday. Gates to the stadium open at 4. Music begins at 6 both days. Some other things you need to take into account. On Friday, specifically Friday, Styx and Foreigner are playing at the Xfinity Center, so 495 and 95 are going to be a disaster because of that. Greta Van Fleet is playing at the Mohegan Sun Arena that night, so 395 is going to have more traffic on it than normal. And training camp for the Pats is happening on Friday afternoon. So Friday more than Sunday, and then just the regular Friday afternoon traffic of people trying to go to the Cape and wherever else. So if you're going to the show on Friday to see Metallica, Pantera, and Mammoth WVH, give yourself some extra time because the traffic's going to be bad on Friday. The Metallica pop-up shop to be able to go and get Metallica merch actually opens on Thursday at Patriot Place. So you could actually go down there on Thursday and get your t-shirts and stuff so you don't have to do it on Friday. And it's open all weekend. So the pop-up shop will be open on Saturday. It'll be open on Sunday. There's also the Metallica Film Fest and the bands that are playing around the Metallica Takeover in Boston and all of the blackened Metallica whiskey, all of those tasting events with Rob Dietrich and all of that. This is all up online, but there is a lot of stuff that's going on around these Metallica shows. How long is the Slash episode, Bish? I think it's 30 minutes, right around 30 minutes, something like that. So Friday is going to be more of a clusterfuck than Sunday. But Sunday, of course, is Five Finger Death Punch and local guys Ice Nine Kills opening up for Metallica. Yes, Louise, Friday is going to be a clusterfuck. It's going to be insane. Planning on leaving Boston at 1 p.m., says Denise. Probably a good idea. I think avoiding, having to go by the Xfinity Center is probably a better idea. Like coming up from a different route to get to Gillette is probably a better idea. 495 South to get to Gillette, which would be the route that I would take, is probably going to be the worst one. So Metallica's in town this weekend. We've been waiting on these shows for almost 2 years, and we're finally getting them. All right, just a reminder about all of the shows that are coming. These are all up on the events calendar at mistresscarrie.com. I go over them every week with you guys, but you guys know, there's just a ton of shows. The Silver Scream Con, I am going to be talking to Spencer Charnas coming up, not only about what it's like to tour with Metallica, but also about the Silver Scream Con that's coming to the DCU Center September 13th through the 15th, which is going to be huge. I'm going to be there as well. It's going to be an absolute blast. A ton of shows at Big Night Live. The girls from The Warning we had on the show. Cold Chamber coming back to town. Dirty Honey playing on my birthday. Asking Alexandria, Palais Royale, Marvelous 3, and Lit. Big Night Live is booking a lot of rock shows, which is really, really cool. The Xfinity Center coming up tomorrow night. Limp Bizkit's Loserville is going to be there. Drake was at the show the other night and got booed by Limp Bizkit fans, which is hilarious. Also, Styx and Foreigner, we were just talking about it on Friday. All of these shows coming to the Xfinity Center this season. What are you doing? Why do you hate the pillows so much? Huh? Why do you hate the pillows so much? Why do you constantly try to push the pillows off the couch? Why? I don't have any more cookies. There's none left. I gave them all to you. They're gone. All gone. All done. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but you can just sit. Want to sit with your toys? There you go. Want to sit with your toys? Earlier, she was hitting the Tito's pretty hard. There you go. I needed a cuteness break. Are you leaving me again? Also, got to remind you about the Fenway concert series, Def Leppard and Journey, coming up fast on Monday. Green Day, the Smashing Pumpkins, Rancid, and the Linda Lindas at Fenway, coming up August 7th. By the way, the Smashing Pumpkins releasing their new album, Agore More and Me. That's coming out on Friday. And they didn't release an advance single because they wanted people to listen to the album in its entirety first. Shows coming to the Palladium include Set It Off New Year's Day, From Ashes to New on October 27th, and NoFX Final Tour at Campanelli Stadium in Brockton. The New England Hardcore and Metal Festival, that's going to be back at the Palladium in September as well. A ton of shows at Roadrunner as well. Everybody from Newfound Glory and Kaleo to the Hives, Skillet and Seether, Red Clay Strays, who opened up for the Stones this year, Dayseeker, Rise Against. That is one of the newer venues we've gotten over the last few years. Another new venue we've gotten over the last few years, the MGM Music Hall at Fenway. Cheap Trick's going to be there on Saturday night. Also, Taking Back Sunday, Widespread Panic, Kings of Leon, Sisters of Mercy, Sting, Queens of the Stone Age. They just canceled more European tour dates because Josh Homme needs to remain in the United States and is still undergoing medical supervision for the emergency surgery that he had, but they did not say what the surgery was for or what he's battling, but he has battled cancer in the past. We just don't know if that's it. Also on Sunday night, while Metallica is at Gillette, the Struts are going to be at the House of Blues. The aforementioned Bad Flower, my guest last week on the podcast, will be at the House of Blues September 15th. Rival Sons and Clutch, Airborne Toxic Avenger, Blues Traveler, Hatebreed, Testament, The Theory of a Dead Man, Unplugged Tour, and also Steel Panther. That's all at the House of Blues. Crown the Empire is coming to the Paradise. Those tickets are available now. The Lemonheads, Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses is going to be there November 4th, and Gwar will be there on November 5th. And then shows at City Winery coming include Robbie Krieger next week, John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band, John 5, 2 shows September 1st, and Richie Kotzen is also going to be there. And mail call. So the first thing that I want to show you guys, I got this in the mail. And here comes Wednesday. You hear her? Huh. Hi, Wednesday. Do you think maybe that something came in the mail for you and that's why you're back in here? So I got this. It says, "This is the music that's been in my soul since I was a child. I'm proud to share it with you and the world. I'm proud to share it with you, and the world better be ready, because here comes the fucking trailer head." Or the trailer hood, not the trailer head, the trailer hood. A little note from Tim Montana. And not only did he send me the CD version of Savage. Can you guys see her? Can I help you? But he also sent me his new album on vinyl. And when he comes to town September 20th on the Seether and Skillet tour with Royal Lynn, I'm going to get him to sign this bad boy so that I can frame it and hang it up outside of MCHQ. But the new Tim Montana came in. So I want to thank Tim for his lovely note. I appreciate it. He's even got his own stationery. Dude's moving up in the world. 1 minute he's on the Mistress Carrie podcast. The next minute, he's got his own stationery. Then I got this note that says, "I hope you like these. Tim bought me a set and I love them. Love, Melissa." She emailed me that, "Wednesday, you're stepping on my Tim Montana vinyl. Get down." And said that something was coming. And I went and picked them up. They are those, those landscaping lights that you put along a walkway. Oh, fuck yes. Oh, fuck yes. They came with the little poles and the little spiky things to put in. Landscaping path lights with skeleton faces. What? I don't know where you find these things, but thank you for your mad Googling skills. Like, legit. Like, what? Yeah, look at this. I got to double check and see if you need to put batteries in these or if they're just fully solar. Are they just fully solar? Look at how badass that is. I'm going to have illuminated freaking skulls in the yard. Not just on Halloween. Halloween is every day. Live the lifestyle. Get on board. Frozen again. You keep freezing on my end. Those are so neat, says Jonathan. They are super neat. Like, are you kidding me? I can't wait to put them outside. I can't wait. Yes, there will be pictures. Yes, there will be pictures. Melissa, I don't know where you find these things, but they're amazing. They are purple flames for lights. What? No, they're purple flames. Were these things literally just made for me? Like, was somebody just sitting there going, we need to make something to make Carrie happy? Is that what happened? They're purple flames, no shit. Do they need batteries in them? They're fully solar. Immediately, if not sooner, they will be outside. Holy shit. I need them. Hold on. Annette says I need those. Annette, I'm going to put this up on the screen so you can Google accordingly. That's who made them. So that you can find them for yourself. Because when I see purple flaming skulls in my garden, I'm going to lose it. Walter, get the lighter for the skulls. I don't need a lighter, Bish. It's the sun. Ah, those are amazing, says Rhodey J, chasing the devil. YouTube is doing good, says Betty. Yes, okay, good. Keith said Carrie just shit herself. I did not, but I could have. You need more of those, says Will. She needs purple lit skulls. Donna, I have them. Like, my whole life is complete now. I don't even know what to do with myself. I wish you could just charge them with solar right now so that I could take them outside. I can't handle my excitement. Melissa, once again, you are a god that walks this earth. Okay, let's see. Oh, Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass holders, want to give you a heads up. We did our monthly live stream on Sunday night. I told you new tickets were coming. So if you don't have a Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass yet, you can get them on Patreon. Just click the Patreon link at mistresscarrie.com. We do monthly exclusive live streams. You could submit podcast interview questions. When I travel, you get travel updates, early access to ticket and event information. You also get free ticket access. And right now, Backstage Pass holders have access to Slipknot tickets, tickets to see the Gaslight Anthem, tickets to see Cage the Elephant, tickets to see Falling in Reverse, and tickets to see Megadeth. So if you are a Backstage Pass holder, you know how to get to me. You message me through Patreon, and you have access to a ton of free concert tickets this summer. And you also get merchandise discount codes when we launch new stuff in the store. And yes, I'm hoping to have some new stuff for the holidays as well. Just a reminder about all of the places you can find me online, all of the places that you can listen to me on the radio. And of course, all of this is linked at mistresscarrie.com. And one final reminder about the Mistress Carrie Veterans Rock Group that is on Facebook. This group is specifically for the purpose of creating a community for successful veterans events, supporting veterans nonprofits, supporting veteran-owned businesses, to be able to network veterans and have a place for them to seek advice for benefits, resources, and also for civilians that are looking for information for veterans in their lives, that are looking to donate their time, their money, their resources to support the veterans community. So it's open to everybody. So if you have not joined the Mistress Carrie Veterans Rock Group on Facebook, it's open right now. It's available to everybody, but only post about veterans related things, veterans events, nonprofit groups, veteran-owned businesses, that kind of stuff. Veterans legislation, like all of that stuff. That's what it's for. It is not for talking about music. It's not for anything like that. It is just the sole place for veterans and concerned citizens, civilians, loved ones to be able to go and share resources, to be able to promote events people are volunteering at. There you go. Melissa says, make sure you turn the switch on under the cap. Hold on. Oh, there is a switch. Okay. Turn the switch on under the cap, and then you just put them outside and the sun makes them purpley Scully, right? That's it. That's all. Even a DJ can figure that out. I missed the live stream because my Patreon isn't working. Jonathan, I saw that, and we need to get to the bottom of that. That's weird. It should just twist off. Yep, it does, Melissa. I'm so excited. I can't stand myself. Yeah, definitely check out the Veterans Rock Group on Facebook. If you haven't joined it yet, please do. There's a lot of amazing events for motorcyclists, for just different events all summer. There's great nonprofits, obviously details on the ice cream stuff too. But a lot of the organizations are starting to post all of their events on there. Civilians have gone on there to ask questions of veterans. Veterans have gone on there trying to track down people that they served with, swapping war stories, pictures, all of that stuff. That's what it's for. It makes me so happy that you guys are using it. Let's see. Dakota on Instagram says, I'll definitely check it out. Kay Meadson says, bring back AAF. We miss good radio. I wish I could. I don't have the money to buy the station. Otherwise, I would have when I found out it was up for sale before. Although I found out it was up for sale after it was sold, so that would kind of defeat the purpose. But there are a bunch of stations that I'm on already. We were already talking about them. The Pike in Worcester, the Bone in Portland, Maine, 98 Rock in Charleston, South Carolina. There's a bunch of stations around the country that you can hear me. Now we put your hand over the top and it might light up now. Nope, not yet. Not yet. Oh, they'll be out there tomorrow. You expect pictures because they're coming. It's going to happen. So that's it, guys. New episode of the podcast goes live at midnight tonight. Bringing back Slash. He originally was on episode 88, and now he's back on episode 217. How are the drumsticks coming along? You know what? I have not gotten an update from the Vader guys yet, and they're due another email to find out what's going on, because I'm really excited to go to the factory and to be able to make them myself, or at least be able to make the first set of sticks myself. So I don't have an update on the drumsticks, but I will get one. We're losing our connection again, says Jonathan. Ugh. All right, guys, that's it. Episode 284 of Cocktails in the War Room. For some reason, we're having internet problems tonight. I don't know. New episode goes live at midnight tonight. Episode 217 of the Mistress Carrie podcast featuring Slash. That is our new episode this week. And all of the old episodes are now on YouTube, so you can check out all the audio on YouTube anytime you want. Wednesday, you want to say goodnight? You want to say goodnight to everyone? Because you're being such a snuggle bug? Huh? You want to say goodnight to everyone? You're being so cute. Why are you so cute? Squishy face. Ah. Have a kiss? Thank you. Thank you. Say goodnight. Can you say goodnight to everybody over here? Yeah? You want to say goodnight? Oh, look at that face. Oh. All right, guys, I'll see you guys next week, or I will see you at Metallica, right? Wednesday, you're not going to Metallica, but Mommy's going to Metallica. So I'll see you guys at Metallica this weekend. Good night. Say good night, Wednesday.